Shalom, friends. I was just out and about today, visiting some people from our congregation, and as I'm driving along, it's raining here, and I noticed there's not much light, and I got to thinking a little bit. What if light said to God when he said, "Let there be light"? Light said, "I don't want to do your commands. I'm just going to do my own thing. I'm only going to be light for part of the time, and then the rest of the time I'm going to be day glow orange or something," okay? The light doesn't want to obey the Lord's commands. This is a problem in a Christian church. The people acknowledge that the Lord gives the 10 Commandments. We'll just use the 10 Commandments, for example, okay? What do the people do? Oh, we keep 9. Well, why do we keep 9? Well, the Shabbat is not something that we need to follow because the Shabbat has been set aside. Who says? Who says that? Well, the truth of it is, it comes from a Caesar who hated the Jewish people and made decrees that the Christians couldn't be like the Jewish people. So he changed the Shabbat. To this day, very day, the Catholic Church says that Sunday worship is theirs, and Protestants should be worshiping on Shabbat. But the Protestants don't do that. They worship on Sunday. They follow the decree of the Pope, they follow the decree of the Caesar Constantine, and they ignore what Yehovah says many times, which is, remember my Shabbat, keep my Shabbat. Shabbat is important. It comes from creation. It comes from the foundation. Foundation for Shabbat was at creation. The Lord worked 6 days. He rested on the 7th. Yeshua himself said that Shabbat was made for man and not man for the Shabbat. So man has this opportunity to rest with Yehovah and rest in his goodness and grace. Rest in the Father's provision that he's giving you. Okay, but we don't want to do that. We got 10 commandments, we follow 9. We're going to do it on the Lord's day. Well, who said it was the Lord's day? The Lord said, I am the Lord of Shabbat. Yeshua said, I am the Lord of Shabbat. Well, if he's the Lord of Shabbat, then he keeps the Shabbat, okay? Shabbat has not been done away with. That's totally a man decree. So when it comes down to it, we only follow 9. 9 out of the 10 commandments. And unless you are a person that starts keeping Shabbat. And why would you want to do that? Well, because there's blessings in it. And truthfully, it's the sign of the covenant, of your covenant with Yehovah, with God. It's a sign of your covenant with him. So when you're in covenant with somebody, you get all the good things that he has, which God has all good things. It says there's no evil in him. It's only light. All right. Man, he gets all the ugly. I mean, we have good in us. We have bad in us. We have everything in between. Okay. He gets us warts and all. Now, when you're in covenant with somebody, there's always 2 sides to the covenant. It's blessings and curses. So you have an opportunity to walk in blessing, or you have an opportunity to walk in curses. That's not what I'm saying. That's the way covenant works. Okay? If you read scripture, that's the way the covenant works. Israel stood on one side of the mountain, and one shouted out the blessing, and they stood on a mountain on the other side, and one shouted curses. So this is how ancient covenant was made. And when you come and bond yourself to Yehovah, you become in covenant with him. But think about it. What if light did its own thing? It didn't want to do what the Lord commanded it to do. Would that be any different than somebody who doesn't want to follow Yehovah's commands, instructions, and guidelines for our lives? Shalom. Thought for the day.